We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Right. Fucking thing sucks.
N3 Radio.
In the mix.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Don't Tread on Me here on N3 Radio. This is Beach Ball in for Mad Dog. He will be joining us eventually. I'll be taking over D-Tom until his return. Do not fret. Mr. Mad Dog will return. All right, let's talk about last night's Democratic national debate and what a dumpster fire that was. And actually, I'm very excited because none of these candidates have the star power, the enthusiasm, as they say, to really capture the voters. I have a feeling that a lot of Democratic voters are going to stay home because their progressive person didn't get into the nomination thanks to superdelegates and the corrupt system that is the Democratic National Committee and their superdelegate system. I did like one thing, and it's the only thing that could save the Democrats in the upcoming election, and it was said by Andrew Yang. He said, when we talk about Trump, we lose. And he's absolutely right on that one. The problem is, nobody's listening because everybody thinks Orange Man bad. Orange Man is Hitler. Orange Man is the devil. It's great. I love it. I love watching all these liberals' heads spin, go out of control. Keep telling us that our taxes are going up. Keep saying it. So anyway, I can't talk for, the next 2 hours straight. I'll try. I'll do my best. But of course, we're going to interpose some videos here. We're going to talk about last night's Democratic national debate. I like this guy, Tim Pool. He's a Democrat. He's a milquetoast Democrat. But he tells the truth. He tells it like it is. And I've got a couple of videos here of his where it says that the Democrats are doomed. Trump might even have a landslide election coming up in 2020 if it comes down to the economy. And you have to remember that the Democrats, they have nothing to stand on other than Orange Man bad, and we've got to impeach him because our policies are not going to be popular with middle America because they all involve raising our taxes. I do believe there is one issue on a local, state, and national level that could turn the tide for the Democrats. And I'll share that with you after these next two videos from Tim Pool. Keep it tuned right here to N3 Radio because you're listening to Don't Tread on Me with your special co-host, Beach Ball. We'll be right back.
Last night was the fourth Democratic debate, and it looks like people are kind of unhappy with the Democrats' performance. Now, there's a lot of general, more professional assessment where people are saying things like, Joe Biden had an interesting point and Warren did dodge that question. Let's be real. No standout performers. Actually, I'll say this. Yang did a pretty good job, but I don't think he did a good enough job to be a contender in 2020. Let's be real. There's so many reasons Trump is going to win, and I've got two stories from the past day or so showing this. We don't need to look at the weak Democratic field to know this. And it's a bummer. I do really like Tulsi Gabbard. I gotta admit, I'd give her a 6 out of 10 in terms of performance. Like, she hit some good points when she, last night during the debate, she called out CNN and the New York Times for their smear job on her and other veterans who want to end these wars, and that was fantastic. Standout moment. But I do think some of her responses were a bit too generic, not personable or charismatic enough. Andrew Yang did a really, really good job. In my opinion, he did the best job. He had really great answers, and everybody else was just, let's be real, it was all so generic. And, this is one of the things I brought up before about, Tulsi's performance. I think one of the things you see Bernie do really well is he said, I wrote the damn bill. And it's like, listen, man, that's very populist. That's very, Trump-esque. Speaking off the cuff like a regular person, like, don't tell me I wrote the damn bill. And then people were like, yeah, like, we like that, right? So there's a lot of people who give you this very presidential, very canned, listen, we must discuss, no, none of that. We're beyond that at this point. We're in the age of, YouTube personalities and people who treat you like you're a friend sitting at a bar. And that's what we need. So take that advice, Democrats, moving forward. You really got to step it up if you want to be strong enough to go up against Trump. I don't think anybody will have that X factor. Let's be real. Check out this story from the Daily Beast. All of these Democratic debates, especially this one, just leave me thinking Trump is going to win in 2020. None of them are top drawer presidential candidates. I don't say that with pleasure, quite the opposite. I say it with regret, but they aren't. You know what, man? I used to work in nonprofit fundraising, and as many of you may have noticed, I can talk a lot. So when I watch these debates and I see these answers, I'm like, dude, do you people not understand the basics of communication? Like how you actually try to explain an idea politely and succinctly. What was Elizabeth Warren thinking when they said, yes or no, will you raise taxes? And she goes, well, let's be clear here. I've always looked at the problem. I was like, no, stop talking. Stop. Enough. We don't like that. Tell us the truth. And then Bernie comes out and says very specifically, listen, premiums will be gone. Okay. These, charges will disappear. Your taxes will go up, but your costs will go down. Thank you, Bernie. Your taxes will go up. Now, this is important because a lot of people don't have very high healthcare costs, or their healthcare is provided by their employer, in which case the company is fronting the healthcare, which means your costs will go up. Elizabeth Warren is playing this silly game, and Bernie isn't giving you the complete picture. But let's be real. Let's move on from this debate talk and stuff, because I want to talk about this. First of all, I did highlight this yesterday. I actually went into Moody's analytics and showed that Trump might actually get nearly 400 electoral votes. This is Moody's analytics. According to Newsweek, historically accurate election forecaster predicts Trump will win by even greater margin in 2020. He won by nearly, 70 electoral votes or more? They're saying he's going to win by more. Moody's said with average turnout, he'll do a little better. With low turnout, he's going to do remarkably well, sweeping with 380 electoral votes. Democrats need a historical turnout in order to just barely get above 270. Now, here's what's really crazy. We're hearing from the New York Times that we are expecting historical voter turnout, but it is also going to include Trump's base. The largest group of people who support Trump, which I believe is white, working class, non-college educated. So tradespeople and rural Americans are expected to come out in big numbers too. Now, Moody's says, regardless, historical turnout means he wins. But historical turnout means Democrats win. But a historical average, Trump has that victory. And a low turnout, he has that victory. Let's read a little bit from this story. And guess what? You've got someone saying straight up the Democrats are poor performers. They don't stand out. They're not top drawer candidates. Trump's going to win. For that reason alone. I agree. You know what, man? When I watch when I point out, like I did the fundraising stuff, it's because I'm watching these debates thinking to myself, like, you were all so bad at this. Okay. All of you. No one gets any credit. They're all terrible at being, at speaking. Now, I go back to that old George Bush interview, senior, where he said, do we want an order or do we want a president? I can respect that. But let's be real, man. If you can't connect with voters, you can't win. And when you all look stodgy with canned responses, ain't nobody want to vote for that. Bernie Sanders, good job. You see why he was so popular? It's not about what their plan is. It's about they have a plan and they're saying it to you in a way that feels honest. I'm not saying they're correct. I'm saying it seems like they're really trying. I don't think Bernie's trying to mislead anybody. I think he's explaining it the way he sees it, and he's trying to be straightforward for the most part. I think Bernie's gone very heavy mainstream, so I'm like soured on him. But I really, really do respect that he was like, listen, your taxes will go up. Let's be real. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for just saying it. I really do respect it. If you came to me and said, listen, man, we got to raise taxes for these reasons, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to begrudgingly be like, okay, well, I appreciate you just being straight with me. And that's what Trump does. Or whether you believe he does or not. A lot of people, the left will say he's a liar every single time. But seriously, you watch Trump speak and you feel like he's not holding anything back. The Intercept wrote a story saying Trump is simultaneously the most deceptive as well as honest president we've ever had. He was doing an interview about a weapons deal with Saudi Arabia, and he says, look, they pay really well. We're going to do a great weapons deal for our weapons manufacturer. It's going to be great for the economy. And the anti-war left, their collective jaw just dropped like, he just said it. And they were shocked by that. That's the kind of attitude where people are like, okay, I disagree, but now I get it. Thank you for being honest. That's why Bernie and Trump are so popular. That's why they're populists. Everybody else, Okay? Now, Tulsi did a pretty good job. Not perfect, I think. Some of her points were great. Yang did a fantastic job, but everybody's very, very can. I digress. Let's read the story. Newsweek says, though President Donald Trump currently trails several leading Democratic candidates in early national polls, a research firm with a historically accurate model has him winning the 2020 election by a wide margin. The Moody's model has predicted presidential elections with success since 1980 until its first miss in 2016. Isn't that crazy? Like so many others, they predicted a Hillary Clinton win. In our post-mortem for the 2016 presidential election model, we determined that unexpected turnout patterns were one of the factors that contributed to the model's first incorrect election prediction, wrote Mark Zandi, Dan White, and Bernard Yerbos of Moody's Analytics. Yes, Trump awoke a sleeping majority. I shouldn't say sleeping majority. Okay, that's the silent majority is what they say. But to be less hyperbolic, Trump found people in this country who had never voted before, areas that were gray. They weren't blue or red. And he turned them red. He activated them. I remember talking to somebody in California, and they were like, there's an area in southeastern California that typically doesn't care to vote. And all of a sudden, everyone's wearing Trump hats. And that's what he did. And that's what changed the Republican Party and angered a lot of establishment Republicans. This new wave of former independent and moderate individuals who just came out for Trump. New Republicans. Some people said Trump reinvigorated and revived the Republican Party because they were shaky. They were where the Democrats are today. The Democrats need some kind of resurgence. They say the model did not account for the individual attributes of the candidates other than whether they belong to the incumbent political party. In other words, it assumed Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were generic candidates, which they were not. The research firm concluded, Hillary was disliked even by Democrats, and Trump was liked by non-party affiliated voters. Moody's uses three models to come up with its forecast. In each case, Trump gets at least 289 electoral college votes. The pocketbook measure focuses on three economic variables: the change in gas prices, the change in house prices, and changes in personal income. This is where Trump shines brightest, grabbing a whopping 351 electoral votes. Oh, man. If that happens, there's going to be egg on the face of the Democrats. If voters were to vote primarily on the basis of their pocketbooks, the president would steamroll the competition. But wait, warning to Democrats. This is from yesterday afternoon. The economy points to a Trump win. End of story. Right? Are we done? Well, let's read a little bit more about the Moody's analysis, because I did show this the other day, but let's see what they say. The stock market model relies on fewer economic variables than his pocketbook model, and is the least favorable model for Trump, but it still currently predicts a victory for the president. Meanwhile, the unemployment model predicts a more comfortable win for the president than the stock market model. Moody's Analytics may have missed on the previous election, but an economic analysis released in 2016 by the research firm forecasting Trump's presidency has largely come true. Amazing. Broadly, Mr. Trump's economic proposals will result in a more isolated U.S. economy. Cross-border trade and immigration will be significantly diminished. And with less trade and immigration, foreign direct investment will also be reduced. That's what they wrote in the report. The report also determined that Trump's plans would hit the middle class the hardest, while high-income earners would benefit the most from his tax breaks, including with a simplified overview. Even allowing for some variability in the accuracy of the economic modeling and underlying assumptions that drive the Trump analysis, four basic conclusions regarding the impact of Mr. Trump's economic proposals can be reached. They will result in a less global U.S. economy. They will lead to larger government deficits and more debt. They will largely benefit very high-income households, and they will result in a weaker U.S. economy with fewer jobs and higher unemployment. Well, that was wrong, though. What do you mean, Newsweek? That analysis was wrong. The authors of the report, however, warned that quantifying the real estate mogul's economic policies was complicated by their lack of specificity. They say the chief economist for Moody's Analytics also acknowledged that sometimes numbers can't control the outcome. It could be that this election may be so out of bounds with history that the models just aren't going to work. It could turn out things run on a dynamic you just can't model. Well, let's go back to the statement. First of all, the middle class did get a tax break. I believe they received around $2,000. We do have a less global U.S. economy to an extent, but it's hard to really quantify. Trump's announced that China's going to be doing this big agricultural deal, $50 billion. So there have been some, pullbacks, but Will it be forever? I don't know. And how you quantify that, man, you'd have to be able to, you'd have to track all of this stuff to give a definitive answer. And I can't necessarily give you that answer. They say it will largely benefit high income households. I believe, yes, a lot of people on the higher end got a big tax break, but largely benefit is not a bad thing. So let me ask this. I mean, just because the wealthy are doing well doesn't mean the poor are doing worse. The middle class got a tax break too. Congratulations. Maybe the higher income earners got more cash out of it. Sure. Is that a bad thing? I mean, if you're jealous and you think the rich should be paying more in taxes, I don't see that as an actual problem. Let me put it this way. I don't care how much money Jeff Bezos has. I literally don't. It means nothing to me. I'm not going to sit here and complain he has too much and it should be taken away. That doesn't make any sense. If you want to talk about taxing the wealthy to pay for programs for everybody else, that's different. It's not about Bezos. I'm listening. But the idea that simply because high income earners are doing well, everyone is doing worse makes no sense. Everybody is got a tax break from this. So you can be upset and think Trump is helping his rich buddies. Fine. But I guess you can argue that the deficit has gone up, and that is a bad thing. Well, for complicated reasons, like first and foremost, inflationary reasons. But most people don't even understand how the national debt works and how it impacts us, and most people don't seem to care. And they say it'll result in a weaker U.S. economy. We have we just had another record stock market and record low unemployment. So sorry, that's not the case. When we turn over here to Politico, the other day we can see economy points to a Trump win, man. So look, you know what, man? The Democrats have spent so much time spinning in circles screeching about the orange man. They've done nothing to propose anything. But I'll tell you why they do it. And you've heard me say it before. Trump's winning. Well, let's be real, man. The reason they do Ukraine Gate, the reason they do Russia Gate is because Trump is winning. And they go up on that debate stage and they all say the same thing, save Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. And I was like, I want to pretend like I stood up in my bedroom, started clapping. No, let's be real. I was sitting in my bed playing some silly Tetris game on my phone, going like, yeah, you go Tulsi. That's right. And eating ice cream or something. But Tulsi said, we have this partisan impeachment. She supports the inquiry. I think that's respectable. I disagree. But at least she's saying we can't be divisive. And I really do feel, I got to be honest, the only reason she supported impeachment is because the Democrats want it. The Democrats are polled. They overwhelmingly want impeachment. And that's why I think she flipped on it. Could you imagine if Tulsi wanted to stand out and she said, I do not support this impeachment inquiry? They would have went to her first and said, out of everyone on the stage, you're the only one and a member of the House not supporting this. And she could have said straight up, listen, for years we have been told over and over again, there's scandal after scandal after scandal. Look, Russiagate didn't turn out. It turned out to be a big nothing burger. You want to argue if Trump obstructed? Well, you've got a problem. A lot of people don't care. They didn't care about Russiagate. And then when Russiagate turned out to be nothing, now you're going after the minutia of the investigation. We can argue that Trump shouldn't have done it. Fine. But now the Ukraine Gate thing. This is a complicated, divisive, partisan issue that is not going to win us 2020. Let's be real. I know you don't like Trump. I know you want that emotional vindication. This is not how you get it. You get it by saying, listen, here are the problems not being solved. Here are the issues that he has not fulfilled his promise towards. And here's what I'm going to do to fix these problems and help make things better for you. But what do we get? We all just support impeachment. Well, at least Andrew Yang said, when we're talking about Trump, we're losing. And that I was like, bravo, Andrew Yang. Thank you. We don't need to just talk about the man and his character and who he is and what he says and that he's orange. I don't care. Look, man, this is WWE style politics and the Democrats don't know how to fight back. They don't know how to play the game. So Trump is in the hall. I could be wrong about this. I'm pretty sure, though, he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. He knows how to go up in that ring and say, I am the greatest, the best, with the best proposals, and you will be no more. And then everyone claps and cheers, and then they wrestle, and, Trump hits somebody with a chair or whatever. People get rallied by that. Let me tell you a story. During Occupy Wall Street, I'll give you a perfect example of the Democrats and Trump. During Occupy Wall Street, there was this emergency that happened. I believe it was October 14th, 2011. I could be getting the date wrong. Where the city said they were going to shut down the protest, the occupation, because of sanitation issues. So in the wee hours of the morning, 2,000 people showed up and cleaned everything. And the city backed down. With all these people standing around, a couple activists stood up on this elevated planter, because the Zuccotti goes downhill slightly. And so there's this planter, and one guy stands up and he says something like, mic check. And then everybody yells and he goes, should we march? We have a lot of people. And then everyone just mutters and then turns around and ignores him. And then this woman yells mic check again. And then she screams, "We won!" or something like that. Everyone goes, "Rah!" and starts screaming back. And then she goes, "Now we march!" And then everyone goes, "Wah!" and screams. And they all start marching and going wild. That's called charisma. And I watched it that day and I laughed because I knew exactly what was going on. The Democrats are up on stage going, listen, I think, Trump is really bad, okay? And we need to be real about this. And then Trump is sitting there with a grin on his face, all slick, going, look at these losers. Hey, guys, look at these losers. They got no idea what they're talking about. I got record low unemployment. I got a booming stock market. Things are better than ever, and I've brought your jobs back. Now, who stands with me? And then everyone goes, "What?" and wiggles their arms in the air. You can, it reminds me also of I don't know if you watched the King of the Hill episode where Bobby is trying to do comedy, but nobody laughs. So Peggy says, you've got to tell people when to laugh. Seriously. That's why they have laugh tracks. And then Bobby tells a joke and then she laughs and then spins some things. So it goes, "Wah, wah, wah," and then everyone laughs because they're like, now I know when I'm supposed to laugh. If you don't have that, cue point, this is why we rally. This is the energy I bring you. You got nothing, man. And I'll say it for everyone across the board, Yang, Tulsi included. The Democrats don't have that rallying cry. They don't have the strength and the charisma behind them that Trump has. Trump goes up on stage and he says big, bold things, and then people start clapping and cheering, and he looks and he winks at you and he points at you, and then people go, "Oh," and they faint. Trump does it. You might not like him. The left doesn't like him. It doesn't matter. It matters that he has that star power. That's why he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's a celebrity. He knows how to play the game. At the end of the day, you can throw everything aside and take this to the bank with you. The economy is better than it's been in decades, and Trump has star power. That's outside of Moody's analytics and the opinions of the pundits. I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel, and I will see you all then.
N3 Radio in the mix.
The Democrats are not going to vote to authorize Trump impeachment inquiry because everything's a game. Nothing makes sense. They don't actually want to impeach the president. I don't know what they want to do, or they can't. Whatever the deal is, I am sick and tired of the scandal BS. Andrew Yang at the debates last night said, when we talk about Trump, we lose. Bravo, Mr. Yang. Tulsi Gabbard said, we cannot have this divisive, hyper-partisan impeachment inquiry. She's right. She should not be supporting it. But Yang isn't, politician, so he kind of gets by. But in the end, I think Yang said it the best. Stop. Just stop talking about the guy, man. Listen, you can talk about him in the sense that things are being done, that there's actions being taken by the president, and we can assess them and be critical of them. That's totally fair. But that's not what they're doing. And now they're not even going to vote on it. What is this, Politico? Pelosi holds off on vote to authorize Trump impeachment inquiry. And you want to know why? Members of leadership and vulnerable Democrats were opposed to taking the vote. Oh, is that it? You see, there were many moderate Democrats. They won in 2018 in places that Trump won in 2016. You know why? Because Trump did sour on some people. Some people probably didn't vote. Some people probably turned on the president, and some people are probably new voters that have that have been lighted up, whatever the word, whatever. They've lighted up in response to the news cycles and all this stuff. Fine, whatever the reason. People offered a different kind of politics, a moderate kind of politics. We're going to talk about the issues. We're not going to talk about the orange man. Vote for us. And so they did. There's that district in Minnesota I've talked about that's a Democrat stronghold. They vote for Democrats locally, but they vote for Trump nationally. And that's really interesting. But what's interesting is now they were forced into this impeachment, essentially. I look at Tulsi Gabbard. Why she flipped on impeachment, in my opinion, because as a Democrat, you have no choice. I would have much preferred to see her stand defiant and say it is divisive rhetoric that will do nothing to serve the interests of the Democratic Party. You can say whatever you want, but it will cost us for generations to come if Trump wins and gets more justices on the Supreme Court. It's that simple, man. Impeachment is a waste of time that says nothing to the American people. Do you want to win or do you want to lose? Pick one. Now they'll say, yes, but Tim, it's not about winning. It's about the principle and what comes after Trump. Whatever, man. Listen, what comes after Trump is going to be Trump Jr. unless you learn how to actually address core issues and speak to the people, like Andrew Yang said. Once again, When we're talking about Trump, we're losing. Bravo. Because you can't beat Trump at this game. Trump is probably, if Trump is good at anything, if you had to pick one thing that you thought Trump was the best at, it is media. It is the message. He owns it. He owns that. You can't beat him at that game. You can try, but you're not you can't play the game of Trump is a scandal, corrupt. Don't care. Nobody cares. We don't care. You can't beat him. Trump is the man who brands you. The best you can do is try and counteract that with personable populist positions and talk about what you don't like in a calm and reasonable way. But when you get up on stage, start ranting about the end is nigh and Trump is evil, bad man. Sorry, dude. You're going to lose people. Let's read this silly story now. I mean no disrespect to Politico. I think they're pretty good, but it's absurd now that we're at this point where now the Democrats are like, oh no, now we're not going to vote on impeachment. Oh, okay. Who saw that coming? Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Democratic leaders will hold off on a full House vote authorizing an impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump, according to multiple lawmakers and aides. Go figure. Democratic leadership sources caution, however, that the decision could be reassessed at some point. So are you going to stop with the subpoenas? They're subpoenaing, Barr and other people. Just stop. There's no impeachment inquiry, right? Then we're done. Then stop. It's just, these people are obsessed. The move came amid opposition from key chairmen and members of leadership, as well as a number of centrist Democrats facing tough re-election bids. Bravo. If I thought you were actually interested in moving this country forward and not terrified you're going to lose re-election. If you're scared of losing re-election and that's why you push policies, you don't deserve to be a politician. Of course, that's the whole game, right? Trump, White House officials, and Republicans on Capitol Hill have seized on the absence of such a vote as an unacceptable break with House precedent, not White House, House precedent, and have vowed to resist what they describe as an illegitimate probe. Well, if you're not voting on it, there's no legal impeachment. You can't just claim it exists, but you didn't vote on it. Democrats defended their current impeachment process, which has multiple House committees interviewing witnesses in private and gathering evidence related to allegations that Trump and his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, pressured Ukrainian officials to begin an investigation to former Vice President Joe Biden and his son, potentially at the risk of losing U.S. military aid. No, not potentially. That wasn't even a part of it. Come on, man. It's just enough with this. They kicked out, who was it? Was it Matt Gaetz? They kicked him out of an interview saying, nope, you can't come in. What? It's so incredibly ridiculous that we're at a point now where the Democrats are conducting interviews in secret. And our own representatives are being kicked out of these interviews. This is not democracy. You want to, I'm sorry, it's not a democratic institution of which our republic, institutes. But if you want to complain about Trump and the Constitution, fine, whatever. But you're going to point to these people having these hearings in secret and kicking out our own representatives? It should be Congress. Anyone in Congress should have a right to hear what has to be said. Nope, they're going to kick you out. They say there's no requirement that we have a vote at this time. We will not have a vote, Pelosi told reporters Tuesday evening. Well, there's no requirement for me to take you seriously, and there's no requirement for me to think you're doing anything other than politicking to try and win for the Democrats in 2020. We're not here to call bluffs. We're here to find the truth, to uphold the Constitution of the United States, Pelosi added. This is not a game for us. This is deadly serious. You're lying. You're a liar. You're bad people. You're desperate. You have nothing to campaign on. And now you're floundering. You don't like the president. You don't like the Republicans. Fine, whatever. I get it. There are things I don't like about him, too. But this is absurd, insane, and is a violation of principles. These people have widely been adopting the ends justify the means mentality. There is no truth but power. That's what they're using. They don't care about what's fair and honest. They don't care about being about principle or having integrity. They care about winning by any means necessary. And that means they are willing to institute insane policies. Let me tell you this. They argued last night at the debate. They said, we got to think about the presidency in this country after Trump leaves, because one way or another, he's going to leave. That's true. He either wins another term and then he's out and someone comes in, or he gets impeached, whatever, or he leaves this term, whatever. Yeah, Trump will eventually leave. We all think so. Thank you. Thank you, Democrats, for finally saying that, because so many people have said, oh, but what if Trump won't leave? Stop. We have to think about what's left after Congress pulls political stunts like this for years. I want to talk about the country we live in now, not the one after Trump, but I'll entertain that idea too. How about a country where the Democratic president, a Democratic candidate wins, and then the Republicans launch a bunch of insane conspiracy investigations for years, and we have to endure this psychosis nonstop forever until it all comes tumbling down. Russiagate and now Ukrainegate. Enough. Stop. Talk about what the American people need. Talk about the economy. Stop playing these games. I am not concerned about what comes next after Trump. I'm concerned about what comes next after all of these insane investigations and the psychotic media cycle. They say, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer told reporters, the processes that are being pursued are consistent with the Constitution and the law. And by the way, Republican rules. And you know what? Trump says the exact same thing about everything he does. So why should I care what you have to say? This is where I live, right? I live in this space where I look to the left, I look to the right, and hear the exact same things in slightly different ways. The right says the left is conspiracy nonsense. The left says the right is conspiracy nonsense. And you desperately try to figure out what's true and what's not. I think it's fair to point out that moderates and conservatives have a tacit alignment right now, agreement, an alliance, because the left has gone truly nuts. It wasn't always this way. Remember, Barack Obama, he compromised. There was a sane middle of the road where you could have true leadership. And Obama did a bunch of really bad things. Sometimes compromise isn't the right answer. Sometimes something is true and right, and you have to hold your ground. I get all that. Sometimes you have a president who does really, really bad foreign policy. But let's be honest. You compare Obama to what we have on the stage, the other night, nothing. Sorry. There are certain things that I like about some of those candidates, but in the end, what we have now is a left running wild and blaming the president. And the worst thing Trump is guilty of is being boorish, crass, and acting inappropriately. Okay. When it comes to the Biden-Ukraine stuff, they're like, oh no, he wanted an investigation into a rival. It's like, dude, running for president doesn't make you immune from scrutiny. Enough. Hunter Biden's, he came out in an interview and said he probably only got these jobs because he was his dad's son. Oh, great. That exonerates you. Great. You tell us straight up you're getting all this money because of nepotism. No, we still don't like that. And you know what? If you have a sworn affidavit from a prosecutor saying you did something wrong, perhaps there should be an investigation. We can't live in a world where the Democrats say, well, Trump should face investigation then if he's got nothing to hide, right? Okay, great. Then so should Joe Biden and all the other Democrats who were involved in the 2016 nonsense. This is the game being played. Trump wants to investigate Biden. Fine, whatever. Right? Fine, do it. They investigated Trump for 3 years. Fine, whatever. Investigate Trump, investigate Biden. Great. Just tell me what the truth is. But the Democrats are playing the same game. Or I should say the Democrats started the game where they're like, well, what's wrong with an impeachment inquiry? It doesn't mean Trump did anything wrong. We're just going to investigate. This is why I really, really think the whole thing was a mistake. I think Tulsi should not have endorsed this because how can you stand on the side of that refuses to actually hold a vote on whether or not this should be happening? They try to say, oh, the polls show approval for impeachment is going up. Yeah, whatever, dude. The aggregate still shows that most people do not want this. Moderates don't want it. Republicans don't want it. There are slightly more moderates now, according to these polls, than there who support it than don't. Fine. And Democrats, of course, support it because they've always supported it. In the end, congratulations. You have not held a vote. You are acting on your own with taking executive action that I disagree with. You are dividing the country. You are addressing none of our problems because the orange man is bad. Andrew Yang, man, he makes a lot of really, really important points. He's a good dude. He said, this impeachment process will do nothing to address the underlying issues that got Trump elected in the first place. Thank you, Andrew Yang. Thank you. Man, I love that performance by Yang last night. Let's be real, okay? This is a game for you. You're not talking about any of these issues. And you know what's really funny? The best they could offer up, Warren, was Trump's response. Oh, man, you know what? Just enough. Andrew Yang says we've got automation. Okay, he's the guy. He's the automation guy, right? Warren says, no, we're losing jobs because of bad trade deals. I'm like, okay, great. Well, Trump's already president, so why should we vote for you? Oh, because the orange man is bad and we're going to impeach him. There it is. Elizabeth Warren can't offer up anything other than what Trump has already said, bad trade deals that he's going to renegotiate. So you want to impeach him. And that's why they won't hold a vote. And that's why I'm grateful for people like Yang and Tulsi, who at least you get a glimpse of reality up there on that stage. I got to admit. I will say this. I think Tulsi could have done a better job, sure. But Yang did fantastic. And therein lies the point. Pelosi privately told other Democrats she was agnostic on the issue, according to an aide. And here we are. Great. Pelosi told her colleagues that she only has license this caucus gives me, meaning she wouldn't pressure her rank and file to hold the vote. You know what, man? It's a scam. It's a game. And that's it. That's it. They're not voting on it. End of story. They don't care. All they want to do is dig up dirt. I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're not going to impeach. They know they're not going to impeach. The Senate's not going to convict. It's never going to happen. They want to dig up dirt. They want to subpoena his tax returns. And they want to use this faux impeachment as a guise to do it. The Democrats, you know what, man? I think the moderates are scared of losing their jobs. I need to get reelected. And the other Democrats are like, let's just burn it all to the ground. Look, listen, man. I'll tell you this right now. This is not a freebie to Republicans, okay? Absolutely not. Mitch McConnell, there's a lot to criticize the guy for, especially it's all political. For the time being, it's mostly the Democrats that are acting insane and falling for these traps. And I have no problem calling them out, but we'll leave it where it is. Impeachment nonsense. I'm sick of it. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on the main channel, youtube.com/Timcast. And I've got a big, we're going to be talking about some very serious issues. YouTube suppressed my video yesterday, and I need to discuss what's going on and the mass social engineering that is going to be taking place. And I'll tell you how it's coming down. Stick around. I'll see you at 4 p.m.
And we're back here on Don't Tread on Me with your co-host Beach Ball. And that was some great stuff by Tim Pool. I always trust Tim Pool. Like I said, he tells it like it is. And that's all we ask for as the American citizen and the American media consumer from our media. Tell us the truth. We're smart enough to choose for ourselves. Although, unfortunately, most media elites in their ivory towers don't believe we're smart enough to discern what is truth. And so they have to spoon feed to us lies to get them to see their point of view. I think what happened with the media is whenever the Deep Throat, the Washington Post incident with Richard Nixon and the Watergate scandal, I think the media from that point on saw that they could actually change history, change the country, and I think they got hooked on that. I also think what also happened was they saw, especially in 2015, 2016, they could get more clicks and more traffic by printing out these sensationalist headlines and get you to click bait and click on it. It's a bad way of putting it, but you know what I mean. And they got addicted to that sugar rush of the people going to their site and checking it out, but they're not gaining actual listeners or readers. They're just getting people randomly to click on it, and then they forget it. Anyway, I like Tim Pool, like what he had to say there about impeachment. Impeachment is a losing issue. And the fact of the matter is, like he said, you've got all these moderate Democrats who are more concerned about getting reelected than actually doing something for the country. All right, let's move on. Let's get into the world of entertainment a little bit before we get back into politics to close out the show. Let's talk about two things. We're going to talk about LeBron James and China, and we're going to go over the TV and discuss SJW's attempt to infiltrate and subvert and hypnotize the public with another crappy show by the CW known as Batwoman and the lesbian Ruby Rose, who says that white men shouldn't be watching the show anyway. Well, guess what? Nobody's watching your show, so how about that? Take that to the bank. How about that? So anyway, let's get to LeBron James, who's performing it's no longer King James, it's Chairman James, since he's performing fellatio on Pooh Bear of China. And he does look like Pooh Bear, by the way, which is great. I find it hilarious that China actually has banned Winnie the Pooh because people use Winnie the Pooh meme to simulate the same. And he does. The chairman, I forget what his name is. Whoever it's Chairman Red. It's Chairman Subvert Freedom. That's what his name is. It's Chairman I Hate Freedom. And anyway, let's get to LeBron James, who put himself in a world of mess and is trying to get out of it. And it just showed, LeBron for what he is. He'll stand up for Kaepernick. He'll stand up for Trayvon Martin. Never mind the fact that Kaepernick and Trayvon Martin are both liars. He won't stand up for the Hong Kong protesters, though, because he's too busy sucking on the schlong of China and their money. And everybody knows it. He's a fake. He's always been a fake. He loves calling Trump a bum, but no, he can't say anything about China. Can't do that because that involves money. So let's get into this segment with LeBron James being a total sellout. I'd like to go to another person who is not a conservative, who is critical of LeBron. It's Rob Parker on his show. And we'll also check out another video about, like I said, Batwoman, and we'll go over the Jeremy and Geeks and Gamers with that video. And we'll check out as well Mecha Random 42, the Red Harpy. She's always cool to listen to. So a lot of videos coming up next. We'll have a break in the middle for our sponsor, Perky's Paperbacks. If you like paperback books and actually reading a book, whether it's sci-fi, mystery, westerns, whatever you want, check it out, perkyspaperbacks.com. We'll have that commercial in the middle of all these videos. And I'll be back, and we'll conclude this edition of D-Tom, Don't Tread on Me, with some more political talk towards the end. Keep it tuned right here to N3 Radio, because you're listening to Don't Tread on Me with your co-host, Beachball29.
Everybody's been talking about the NBA China controversy.
Not as much as we have, though. Some people have shied away from it.
No, a lot of people have. You're absolutely right. Maybe we've talked about it more than most. I don't know. More than most.
We didn't get a muzzle from our management at all. Nothing at all.
No. It's a big story. It needs to be discussed. And so the first player to really discuss it at length is appropriately, if there's going to be a player to step up and talk about it, you would think it would be the face of the league, LeBron James, probably the most outspoken player in the league. And he talked about it yesterday for the first time. And here's a snippet of what he said.
We all talk about this freedom of speech. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech. But at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others and you're only thinking about yourself. So I don't want to get a word or sentence feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke. And so many people could have been harmed, not only financially, but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful with what we tweet and we say and what we do, even though, yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
Now, Rob, LeBron James is getting destroyed.
And rightfully so.
Not just nationally, and I'm going to give it up to you in a moment. Not just nationally, but internationally. In Hong Kong, they've held a demonstration where they're burning his jersey. And here in the United States, he's getting criticism left and right. So I'm going to let you go ahead and address it first. What are your thoughts?
I think LeBron James could not be more wrong. And talk about selfish. LeBron James is the selfish one. This is about sneaker business in China. This is about his money. Go back and read the quote, the tweet from Daryl Morey. What's uneducated about it? About democracy and freedom? LeBron James, you get to play basketball and make millions of dollars and sell your T-shirts and soda pop and sneakers because of democracy. What are you talking about? I want to see what tweet was uneducated. There was nothing in that tweet that wasn't what we all live by. The issues that we deal with in this country are more complicated than the idea of democracy, of people having a right to live free and do as they want. That's what we do. This whole notion that Daryl Morey did something wrong. China doesn't want it. They're a communist nation. I get it. They don't want that stuff out there. They want to regain control of Hong Kong. And the people of Hong Kong don't want it. What part don't you get? And then to talk about, well, there's ramifications and hurting people financially. Hurting you! That's what this is about. Right? Because you don't want what you have going to stop. I get it. You're a very rich man. But that's where they make your sneakers. That's what this is about. And if you want to be taken seriously as this global icon, it can't be just when it's right for you. And the same people LeBron talking about there's a time and a place, and he should have waited till we came back from China or said it another time. Those are the same people who told the NFL players, don't do it during my NFL game. Go do it down the block or 20 miles from here in a park and march in a circle where nobody can see you or nobody can hear you. There was only one good time to do it, when they were heading to China. When other time would you do it? That's how you draw attention to stuff. That's how things get changed. The way things get changed in the world, somebody's got to feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry. I've never seen anything change when everybody's hunky-dory and life is great. Somebody has to feel uncomfortable. Daryl Morey didn't do anything wrong other than express his support for democracy. I'll stand with that guy anytime.
Rob, what LeBron said, first of all, he would have been better off not addressing it. He really would have. What he said it's indefensible. It's indefensible. Now, first he said that Daryl Morey was only thinking about himself. The very nature of the tweet was for millions of people who are oppressed. Daryl Morey tweeted about people in Hong Kong fighting for democracy, about the Uyghur Muslims who are millions of them who are in concentration camps. How in the world is that only thinking about yourself? Like, that's just contradictory on its face. If he were only thinking of himself, he would sit there in Houston with his cushy job, running the front office for a basketball team, and not get involved in such matters. He could have lost his job. He is probably being hated on by people within the league, other front offices, people in his own organization, and certainly players, because I think LeBron was speaking for a lot of players. So that in and of itself is just ludicrous, that he was only thinking of himself. Do I understand LeBron saying we were over there in China when all this was going on and it was a bit uncomfortable? We didn't know what was going on. Some of our families were there. I get that. But here's the thing. Whatever inconveniences the players were going through, whatever they were, I don't know what they were, but whatever inconveniences they were going through, pale in comparison to what those Muslims who are being oppressed over there are going through, and to what the people in China who don't have freedom of speech and other freedoms are going through, people in Hong Kong. So I was stunned by the tone deafness of what LeBron said. He's obviously been very conscientious about different issues here in the United States. And for him to come out and say that was baffling. It really was. He should have, if he's going to say anything of substance, he should have basically took the line Adam Silver did, that we stand behind our right to freedom of speech. We support Daryl Morey's right to say what he said. It's a complicated issue. And, you know, it was uncomfortable over there because we didn't know what was going on, but I'm glad to be back. And you could have left it at that if you didn't really want to get deep. And LeBron came out today, and we'll get to this a little later, and kind of doubled down on his statement. And one thing he said was every issue is not, I don't believe every issue should be everyone's problem. Meaning, you know, everybody can't address every problem, which I get, understand, and agree with.
I do too, Chris. I agree with that. I don't want you to stand up on a soapbox on every issue.
Right.
But what Daryl Morey said, I'm sorry, is fundamentally what we live by.
I agree. And here's the other thing, Rob. I understand you can't address every issue. But when other issues are similar or in the same quote unquote family as the issues that are important to you, even if you don't put a full-fledged effort to fight against it because it may be in another country or wherever,
right,
you should be supportive of that, of those who are fighting that issue or who do speak out against it. Example, racism is similar to human rights violations.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. It's just taken to a further degree in China. So you can't really speak out against racism and then poo-poo those, chastise, criticize those who speak out against human rights violations. Even if it's not your fight in China, if that's what you feel like and believe, you at least should be supportive of those who do feel it's their fight.
100%.
You can't, it's just, and here's the thing, Rob, and I hope, we just had a policeman inexplicably kill an unarmed black woman
in her own home,
in her house in Fort Worth, Texas. I would love to hear LeBron and other athletes speak out about that. The question is, has LeBron damaged? I don't think it should stop him from speaking out here, but how are people going to receive it?
Doesn't sound the same. It won't have the same bass. You know, Chris, you always talk about the bass in your voice. I'm telling you, either you believe in what's right or you don't. You can't pick and choose. And
right.
If Daryl Morey went on some tirade about the Chinese government, it was just throwing support to democracy.
Right.
That's what he did, Chris. Did you hear him say they should storm the Chinese government and behead the dictator?
Not
Any
at all.
of that? None of
Not
that. None of that. That would I touch that? No. Nobody would want to touch that. That's not what he did.
I believe LeBron is for oppressed people here in America, particularly African Americans. But you can't be for oppressed people here in America, but not be for oppressed people elsewhere. He tweeted it out last year. Injustice everywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Hello.
A Martin Luther King quote.
And I'll say this too. The only thing, Chris, worse than the bad people who do things to other people are when good people turn away and don't try to combat it. That's worse when good people know what's going on and they don't do anything about it.
Well, here's the thing, Rob. That's an appropriate way to end this segment. What Daryl Morey did unwittingly, I believe, was he pulled the cover off. He exposed the ugliness of, and it's not just the NBA, because it's tons of American corporations. And it could spill over into that too. But this has been going on for 30 years. And everybody's turned a blind eye to it. Now, Daryl Morey exposed it. And so now it's known. It's out there. Everybody's talking about what's going on. And this is the last thing I would say about LeBron saying social media, maybe not always the right place. Daryl Morey thinking about himself. Daryl Morey has started a conversation that could have good ramifications for people in Hong Kong. I don't know if it will, but now we're talking about it. Now people, I've said it on TV myself and radio. Look at all these other American corporations. NBA's not alone. All these other American corporations are kowtowing to China as well. People are talking about it. Perhaps it'll have an effect. Because if you remember, Rob, in the late 80s, throughout the 90s, the drum beat got so strong against apartheid in South Africa.
No doubt about it.
That American colleges and corporations divested from South Africa to try to end apartheid, and they were successful.
Absolutely. And what happened? Who else took center stage? The entertainers who refused to go to Sun City and perform where they had performed for years, Chris. They stopped going.
Look, as an African American, if someone from another country a powerful person with connected to a powerful business or league tweeted about the unarmed killings of blacks, I'd be thankful.
Hey guys, how you doing? Love the show.
Thank you.
Support you guys. I'm not. I've called before. Never been a LeBron fan. And put the basketball athletic stuff aside. I come from my half my family's African American. Okay, so I come from a mixed folk family, and also, you know what, LeBron, he speaks out about certain things, oppression, and this and that. You know what? Sometimes you just gotta keep your mouth shut. On the real, you just gotta keep your mouth shut. And I don't know if Nike put it up to him or what his businesses and his money, but you know what, dude? Seriously, you just gotta keep your mouth shut because you know what? Someone told me one time, you can't fix everything. And sometimes
so are you
just
saying, are you backing what? That's essentially what he said. Are you backing that, or are you saying he should not have spoken?
No, he should not have spoke. He just leave it alone. Just like, hey, no comment. You know what?
He would have been better off. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
All right, Paul. Thanks for the call. We're trying to get to so many people. Chris in Louisiana, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
Yes, sir. My thing is, I believe y'all just totally living in a fantasy world, man. Because this channel, did anybody from the people in the channel say anything was going on in other countries? No. So why should we keep worrying about what they're doing? They've been doing this since they've been a country. So my point is, if everybody's so offended by what's going on in Hong Kong, how come you want to get on the plane and go in there and protest with them? Y'all talking about what they're doing to Muslims. How come y'all won't get on the plane, fly to Hong Kong and protest with them? It's not our place to tell these countries how to treat their people. If we keep doing that, they're gonna lead to more wars.
Let me ask you this. When we as African Americans were in Jim Crow segregation, would you have welcomed another country saying to America, look, you need to start treating your black folks better?
But did they, though?
No,
they
but
did.
Would you have welcomed it?
They mind their business. Just like ain't no European country telling them what to do.
Chris from Louisiana, we live in a different world, man. I'm sorry. This people aren't.
It's a smaller world.
It's a smaller world, and we're
doing
more
everything
connected.
else overseas,
Absolutely,
getting money,
exactly,
doing business.
Don't act like we don't know what's going on over there. Stop it, Eric in Kalamazoo. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
Man, what's up, Rob?
What's happening?
And Chris, congratulations. Y'all got a great show, man.
Thank you.
I like to make Chris from the Midwest. Rob, I'm the barber from the barbershop on 6 Mile Libertarian, the Buzz, man.
All right.
I moved down to Kalamazoo 19 years ago. So, you know I'm tickled with you on there because you hitting them with, they ain't ready for you. Chris, you hold it down. You from where LeBron from, so I know what you're saying.
Right.
I don't like that caller talking about something, hey, I'm going to let everybody know I don't like LeBron. And then saying some stuff he's saying, wait a minute, I don't like LeBron. Don't try to have a lot of cats that don't go to the NBA, go over there and sign a contract to be playing. Cats that, make pretty well with themselves, deal well, high school and all that
China.
stuff.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different things. Michael Jordan had that stuff going on with his gym shoes and all that. I ain't going to get into all that because I don't like divide and conquer. I'm from the Million Man March, and the anniversary of that is tomorrow. I get to slide that in there. It'll be 25 years that we got together down there in D.C. The type of stuff we was talking about there was a lot stronger than whatever's happening today. So I'm proud of y'all. Keep the show going. They blackballed me from this from Fox for a minute.
All right, Eric, you all good, man.
One more.
Let's squeeze. I want to talk to Top Cat in California. One more. Top Cat, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
How you doing, Odd Couple? Today, you guys aren't so odd. You guys are kind of even. I think both of you guys are on point today with your message. I didn't even take credence of what LeBron said until I listened to the show today, and it made me think. What LeBron said was so silly, so empty. He need to be ashamed of himself. But I don't know if you both saw that interview with Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry coming out of the restaurant. What the bottom line is, the NBA knows that this is touching their bottom line, and they're all tucking and running. It's kind of silly, man, and it looks shameful. Also, I'll back up Kaepernick over here, baby boy. We all should unite. Kaepernick, too.
Thanks, Top
All right,
Cat.
we got you. Thank you. All right, we love to get to more calls. We'll talk about this later in the show, but we got Chris Rose of the MLB Network and NFL Network coming up. But first, David Gascon with What is Trending. David.
Hey, it's the Odd Couple. I'm Chris. He is Rob. And we want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. You can listen to us on the radio, and now you can watch us as well, and it's fun.
No question about it. And remember, oh, yeah!
N3 Radio in the mix.
Sorry. I didn't expect it to be that low. I knew it was going to be low. I did not expect it to be that low. It's loading a refresh. I'm seeing if it changes while we're live here, but I wanted to at least capture this moment. So forgive me if I'm not 100% like made up and everything. Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, your favorite YouTube harpy, and the most popular on TV right now on Rotten Tomatoes is Batwoman, with sitting at a whole whopping 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, here we go. I want to show you guys a little peek behind the curtain. Let you guys in on a little bit of marketing magic. So, you guys already know this. You're on this channel because you're smart, but for people who might be new, why is there such a huge difference? Why is this movie marketed the way it's not a movie, it's a TV show. Why is this marketed the way it is? Why the huge discrepancy? Well, what they did was they threw out a bunch of marketing to get people to hate watch the show. It's as plain as simple as that. They attracted a much larger audience than anybody would possibly, get for one of these little shows. People like me watched it. And I never watched this crap. I never watched, because I know it's going to be garbage, but I had to because of the marketing in this movie, or TV show. I keep saying movie. Normally with this Rotten Tomatoes, I'm looking at movies, right? And that's kind of what I'm going to treat this as. I'm probably not going to watch another episode. But what they did was, they threw all of this marketing so they could have a huge opening ratings night, right? A huge opening ratings weekend. And one of the things that they do with ratings, forgive me if like the exact time frame is wrong here, but I know that specifically if you're watching live TV, they're going to count that first, and then they're going to count the streaming within like the next couple of days. So you have a couple of days to watch this for them to get their ratings in. If you're watching it like on demand, on the streaming app, on their website, stuff like that. And then they can calculate how well the show did. But people, when it's something controversial, like Batwoman, and it's only controversial because they're like, oh, she's the first L. She's an alphabet person. She's the first L. This is she's a vegan. She's all of these things. And, they've been drumming up controversy and buzz for this, and they're going to look at that because they did their job with, getting a huge opening night Nielsen rating, basically. And yeah, the Nielsens are still a thing, and TV still goes by Nielsen's, and then the advertisers are going to see that, and they're going to get a lot of money from these poor advertisers who are going to be like, oh, you just show how to all these people watching it, even though nobody liked it, and they're going to throw a lot of money at it until it drops off immediately in like the second or third week. And that's what usually happens with a lot of these shows that are not very good. Let's face it, it's not very good. Is it a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes? Probably not, in my opinion. I would probably sit it around a 30, 35. I think a 35 is fair out of, like 3.5 out of 10 is kind of where I'd stick it. Because it's not great, but it's not terrible. It's not Star Trek Discovery now, is it? Star Trek Discovery kind of deserves something like that, like a 10% splat like that. But here, let's look at some of the reviews here. Oh, a top critic doesn't like it. He C+. Yeah. I don't understand this reference. Producer Greg Berlanti is to comic book superheroes what Donald Trump is to tweeting. They just can't stop themselves. I don't understand that. That just means what? He spams superhero shows or something at us? Probably. Well, you know why? They're popular. They're popular and they get attention and people watch them because people tend to like the genre. They do. The whole show is very, very interested in being diverse, and it's so obvious it's cringeworthy. Well, this is a woman saying it. Yeah, when women are saying that, and women tend to be like the focus for a show like this, especially when you've got a female protagonist. It's heavy in the romance elements and the relationship feelings in hallways is what I think Gary Neurotic has coined. That sort of phrase. That's what these CW shows are. They're feelings. They're a show about relationships and that sort of thing. And then the superhero or actiony stuff is second. And to be honest, the show being attached to a superhero is kind of my issue with the show. I would much rather sit there and watch a show about a woman who was a failed soldier for whatever reason, because she sucked, not because she got kicked out for being a lesbian. No. I would rather see she either quit or got thrown out for, you know, drinking or something. Give her a little bit more of an interesting story. Make it so that her girlfriend left her for a man and then she got thrown out because she was drinking too much or drugging or something. That would be interesting, because in the show, spoiler, her girlfriend that got her kicked out of the military for being a girlfriend ended up marrying some guy. That little romance element is a lot more interesting to me, but I'm a woman, and that tends to be the type of stuff women are going to gravitate towards, more the emotional, I suppose. Alright, here's another female reviewer. Batwoman is ultimately painful to watch and a struggle to get through, lacking finesse, emotional depth, and a sense of direction. She gave it a 4 out of 10. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair statement. I would definitely also give it around that. But no, we know that this was marketed the way it was, so it would have a huge opening. I mean, 1,200 audience reviews. You have 1,200 audience reviews here. And was this show deliberately made badly? Or did the producers hire people who cannot write or act? Would people really pay tens of thousands to hire security to watch an old film in the park? Did Sophie marry somebody she could cheat on them with Kate? Is it for the alimony or giggles? Do job sites in the U.S. have huts with beds in them? How do plants locked in offices grow and survive without water? So this is a funny one. I like his review. Oh my god, the show is bad. Unlikable characters with a plot that kills you with boredom. Way better stuff to watch. Skip this one. And yeah, it's a little boring. That's why I don't really want to watch another episode. I mean, they threw so much into this first episode, and the only interesting character is the villain. I like Ruby Rose. She's not that great of an actress in this. She's not doing that great. I like her. I can't help but like her. I like her look. I mean, I think she's and that's why they hired her. They hired her because she has a specific look. She's going to appeal to their LGBT demographic. And of course, to make a video on this, I wear my most SJW shirt I can think of. Even though it's Star Wars, I was planning on making Star Wars videos today too, but this one cropped up. I just had to talk about their score here, you know. And if it drops below, we'll probably point and watch it too. But this is hilarious to me. Is it going to go any lower while I'm sitting here watching it? I don't think so. Probably not. Let's see if we can refresh. Sometimes refreshing will help. Man, I just wanted to get in on this because this is hilarious to me, and it's going to keep falling. But you know what? I don't think this is a fair score. I think a lot of people are watching this who really wouldn't watch it to begin with. And they do this is exactly what they did with Captain Marvel. A lot of people would have just skipped that one, but a lot of people went in and watched it to hate watch it. A lot of people went in to watch it to see what the fuss was about. And that's what's going to happen with this one in the next few days. People are going to be like, oh, this is getting terrible reviews. I'll watch it. And it's not that bad. It's not as bad as some of the things I've sat through for this channel, for sure. It's not good, though. It's certainly not worth watching. It's just going to be boring. There's nothing really that over-the-top cringe. It's just so redundant and unnecessary and unneeded. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I am MechaRandom42, and I will see you guys on the next video, live stream, or wherever. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!
What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video. And today, it's all over for Ruby Rose and the CW and Batwoman. Tanks in the ratings and viewership after episode 2. Now, there were a lot of people that were trying to blame me for the ratings being good in episode 1, I guess, but the ratings were not good in episode 1. They were like, this is your fault, Jeremy, because you gave it so much attention. Again, man, I'm not as powerful as some of you people think I am. I'm not the reason Solo failed. I'm not the reason Captain Marvel succeeded. I'm not the reason that Batwoman had what you viewed as good ratings in episode 1, even though it wasn't good ratings by CW standards for their other shows, but regardless, I'm not as powerful as you think I am. But I appreciate you thinking I am. Anyway, let's get to it. Ruby Rose and the CW, blah, 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 blah. Ruby Rose and the CW's Batwoman tanked in the ratings with the release of episode 2, The Rabbit Hole, on Sunday night. You mean when you use a comic book property to push a social agenda and go on a man-hate campaign and play the victim card, you mean people aren't interested? Man, it's almost like nobody's paying attention. TV Line reports the second episode had a 0.3 rating and only had 1.46 million viewers. The first episode had a 0.47 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic with a 1.86 million viewers. An encore aired Monday last week that saw the show bring 1.1 million total viewers. Without factoring the encore audience, the show had a 36% loss in its rating and over 22% loss in total viewers. If you factor in the encore and assume it was all new viewers, the total viewer loss was over 50%. The show's audience score on Rotten Tomatoes continues to be in the dumpster with a 12% rating from 5,000 plus viewers. The average rating is 1.2 out of 5. However, the critics' tomato meter sits at 69% with an average rating of 6.42 out of 10 with 39 reviews. There are 27 fresh reviews and 12 rotten, and there is the Rotten Tomatoes score. Batwoman airs Sunday at 8 p.m. on the CW and exclusively streams on the CW app and websites on Monday. The next episode, Down, 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 airs on the October 20th. Here's the promo. Should we watch the promo? I don't want to watch the promo. Not only was Batwoman viewership down, but Supergirl's ratings and viewership plummeted. TV Line reports Supergirl dropped to a 0.3 rating with total viewership of 974,000. The premiere episode had a 0.37 rating and a 1.263 million viewers. It was a 23% drop in viewership and 25% drop in ratings. TV series finale reports Supergirl averaged a 0.35 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic with an average of 1.21 million viewers per episode in season 4. The show had a much smaller drop off than viewership and ratings between the first 2 episodes in season 4. Blah, 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 blah. So at the end of the day, my God, it's got a 99% on, oh my God, it's got a 99%. Now, I have not watched Supergirl. Eric July sent me a, Young Ripper, sent me a kind of a montage of some of the cringe moments, and I'm like, oh my God, this is as bad as he said, because he told me it was bad. It is truly as bad as he said. Wow, is it bad. Yeah. But as far as Batwoman goes, we all knew this was going to happen. This is not a surprise. People tune in for the first week. It, again, wasn't great ratings in the first week, but you already had bad ratings, and now you're dropping pretty significantly in week 2. This is not good. And we all told you this was going to happen. It's not a surprise. Stop pushing social justice politics in the entertainment. Nobody cares. Nobody is interested. Nobody wants this. And as usual, they blame it on the fans, and they pull their victim card. When you started the fight, you started the man-hate campaign, you started the social agenda, and now people are responding, and you're playing the victim. Classic NPC talking points. What do you guys think? Have you seen Batwoman? Are you loving Batwoman? Is it your favorite show ever? Let me know in the comments below. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy from geeksandgamers.com, and if you're a fan of Geeks and Gamers, please go to our website, visit our merchandise store. We have t-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, tank tops, and in the very near future, we're going to have many more products for you to choose from. So thank you for the support. We appreciate it. You guys have a great day, and we will talk to you later.
N3 Radio in the mix.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rain. You shall not
pass! Turn to a world of intrigue, mystery, and adventure with Perky'sPaperbacks.com with the best in paperback books.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
N3 Radio in the mix.
Welcome back to N3 Radio's Don't Tread on Me. I'm your host, Beachball29. If you want to find us, you can find us on Facebook, N3 Radio. No excuses, no apologies, no regrets. You could also find the DTOM page on Facebook. Don't Tread on Me at n3radio.com. Find us on Spreaker, Spreaker.com/user/N3Radio. You could always go to our website, n3radio.com. We're also on Spotify. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Tumblr. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube under the channel N3 Radio. Find us, share us, spread the word. All different genres, all different subjects, up, down, left, right, center, doesn't matter. We want you to be our next host of your own show. So please contact us at n3radio2017@gmail.com, or just go to our Facebook page and say, hey, I'm interested in running a show. Anyway, back to Don't Tread on Me here on N3 Radio. Your co-host Beachball29 here. Let's get into the subject of the world of gaming. And Blizzard is in trouble because they have decided that China money is more important than American freedom, keeping with the whole China theme here. And they have today just banned for life a person who on their gaming stream put up a sign that said Free Hong Kong. Blizzard has decided that China money is more important than American freedom. Let that sink in. So if you're a gamer and you have a game by Blizzard, I'm not going to mention that game or any games by Blizzard, because I don't want to give them the satisfaction. It's time to boycott and make your voice heard. We have to force these people to recognize that they are wrong. They are not only wrong, they're evil for doing what they did to this person. And we're going to go to Jeremy of the Quartering for this next video about the Blizzard China controversy. After that video, we'll get back into politics with Project Veritas, who has just exposed CNN's undeniable bias against Trump and proof that the CEO himself has a personal vendetta against Trump. We got part 1 and part 2 coming up here. Keep it tuned right here to N3 Radio because you're listening to Don't Tread on Me.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. Big news for Blizzard. Quietly, under the cover of night, they banned some more players, and I want to get the word out there. This may be the first major coverage of it. I have not seen anybody talking about it on major video game journalism websites. I haven't seen any other YouTubers cover it. That doesn't mean they haven't, but this is actually really big news. So I'm going to definitely need, as usual, you to remember to drop a like, leave a comment, and consider retweeting the tweet that is pinned in the top comment, because I believe Blizzard waited for all the news from Riot Games to quietly slide out this banning. Now, if you remember, if you've been following the Blitzchung situation, you don't need a huge recap. The TLDR is this. Blitzchung wins Grandmaster's event, $10,000. Post-game interview, the casters and Blitzchung seem to be in cahoots and making a statement about Hong Kong in support of the Hong Kong protests. Something that, as we've seen from the outside, has never been explicitly denied or forbade, except for in some super vague rule that basically said, look, if we don't like what you do, we can ban you at any time with no penalty whatsoever, and that's just the way that it is. They have no rule. And from Jump Street, from the day this happened, people have been pointing out the hypocrisy of Blizzard, which all the time pushes politics they agree with, the right politics, politics that generate money for them, and virtue signaling, which, by the way, as somebody who has called corporate virtue signaling out for years, and many of you smart, beautiful, intelligent viewers have seen through their baloney as well, what a great day for all of us. What a great day to see so clearly that they will never extend their virtue signaling as so far as it ever costs them a dime. Because the minute Blitzchung showed support for Hong Kong, by the way, something 99.999% of people universally agree with, they immediately banned him and said, whoa, 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 we can't have any of this. This can't be happening in our video games. It absolutely has nothing to do with China. Even though it all does, because obviously Blizzard, their giant growth strategy is in the Chinese market. Many of their games are very popular there, and it is a $1 billion+ franchise market for video game people. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind, based on the evidence, that it was absolutely, unequivocally done to protect the delicate sensibilities of their Chinese overlords. But just a day or two later, what happened was, and people weren't covering this, is some American university players had held up signs in support of Hong Kong. Those players, by the way, were never banned. Here's the original post from 5 days ago. AU player, we aren't being punished for the Free Hong Kong sign and why that matters. They go on to say, hey Reddit, I'm a player on the team that posted, darn it cat, my cat is being a turd. I'm a player on the team that posted the Steam Stream Tuesday mods can DM me for proof. I am making this post because we received no retribution for our action. Tepsa kept us in the tournament and gave us another match. Tespa, sorry. This shows Blizzard hypocrisy. Oh, my little lady. Hypocrisy and how it treats different regions. They are hesitant to suppress free speech when it happens in America on English language stream, but will throw casters and players' livelihoods under the bus. They are from Hong Kong or Taiwan. It should also dispel the idea that Blitzchung was punished for bringing politics into Hearthstone because our message was clearly political and we weren't touched. Blitzchung was punished because China was watching. To clarify one point, our protest was in no way comparable to Blitzchung's. He and all Hong Kongers are putting so much more on the line than we did. Unlike him, we were also suggested boycotting Blizzard, while his message was purely in support of human rights, yet he is the one Blizzard targeted. This update matters because it suggests Blizzard's doesn't want to enforce censorship in front of a Western audience, yet I'd be curious to see how they would react if every stream had a Free Hong Kong appear on the cams. Could they continue to ignore the outcry from their community, or would they get a call from Tencent or about the context where they were broadcasting? Statements like amnesiacs, which force Blizzard to respond, are exactly what is needed to pressure them. Now look, I, on record, have said I'm 100% in support of a very clear policy from all esports production teams that said you will not use this camera time to espouse any political or potentially divisive messages, agree or disagree with them, and punishment for such will be a lifetime ban. I 100% support that. All right? You have your own platforms. You have your own things to do. When you're on Blizzard's platform or when you're on Riot's platform, League of Legends platform, I'm fine with them having that rule because I want people who are watching a video game to enjoy the video game, all right? That does in no way diminish from my support of Blitzchung or his message. It's just a slippery slope where if you start allowing that or disallowing this, then eventually you're going to get something on there that everyone doesn't like, and it's going to put you in a weird spot as a corporation. Now, Blizzard was getting roasted for this absolute transparent hypocrisy, given, first of all, they so quickly banned Blitzchung and not only did nothing to the AU players, but also invited them back to another match. They were getting pounded over it in the comment section. It was one of the most glaring, obvious connections to why China mattered in the situation. Well, under the cover of night, Hearthstone has released an update saying Hearthstone Collegiate Championship rulings. Hearthstone Collegiate Championship Fall 2019. During Week 4 of the Fall 2019 Hearthstone Collegiate Championship, players Giant Dwarf, T-Jammer, and Excelsior were in violation of Section 7.1.b of the Hearthstone Collegiate Championship rules for engaging in behavior disruptive to the official esports broadcast. The players are disqualified from the ongoing tournament and will be ineligible to participate in Hearthstone esports for 6 months, beginning from October 8th, extending to April 8th, 2020. So we are on October 16th. It took them 8 days to ban them, but it took them 8 minutes to ban Blitzchung. The players are disqualified from the ongoing tournament. Following the 6-month suspension, the players may, at their discretion, continue to participate in Hearthstone. Want to see the original email that Blizzard sent the players? Well, here it is. Hearthstone Collegiate Championship ruling notification. I spoke to one of the players on the team this morning, and he said, I was curious if Blizzard had called him, and at no point he said, did they call him? They just notified him like true heroes via email, using the anonymity of such to carry out more censorship. Now, again, I support having this rule in place, but retroactively punishing players without adding an additional rule is unacceptable. Still not getting it right, Blizzard. Please, J. Allen Brack, call me, all right? My information's out there. Get at me on DMs. Get at me on Gmail. I will tell you how to fix this, all right? If you're telling the truth that China had nothing to do with it, please, Lord, give me a call and I will fix this, help you fix this. You keep blundering. This is the same company that canceled an Overwatch launch event at the Nintendo place in New York yesterday because they were afraid of boycotts and they were afraid of protests. This is the same company that also pushed out an awful port of the game that runs like complete trash on the Twitch, but that's neither here nor there. Hello, Excelsior. This is a notification that your conduct on the official broadcast for Collegiate Hearthstone Championship on Tuesday, October 8th, violated 7B of the Hearthstone Collegiate Championship rules. We expect all players to follow Hearthstone Collegiate Championship rules. Every voice matters at Blizzard, and we strongly encourage everyone in our community to share their viewpoints in the many places available to express themselves. However, the official broadcast needs to be about the game and the competition, and to be a place where all are welcome. By the way, support this. Make it a rule. Here you say, oh, it's just so frustrating to watch Blizzard bungle this. You put out a statement. Here's how you say. And actually, it would be better if it was a video, Jay. You say, holy moly, we're so sorry. We've completely bungled this. We weren't ready for it. Here's what we're going to do going forward. We reversed all previous bannings because we didn't have a clear rule in place. Here is the new clear rule going forward, which we believe most people will support, because if they say something you agree with, everyone's fine with it. If they say something you don't disagree with, you're going to have a problem with it. So our only option is to not allow it at all, and any rational person would agree with that. We're so very sorry. Here's something shiny and new. Here's something to say we're sorry. Let's get back to gaming. Take it easy, everybody. I'm Jalen Brack, and I screwed up. Boom! A 30-second video totally gets people the opportunity to move on, but these continued missteps will continue. Oh! Infraction. Sportsmanship and professionalism. 1B. Participants may not take any action or perform any gesture directed at another participant, TESPA admin, or any other, or incite others to do the same, which is abusive, insulting, mocking, or disruptive. And this is their penalty, 6 months. Penalties for rule violations will be assessed by the tournament administration. Penalties will vary. Respectfully, the Hearthstone esports team. Blizzard, can you please get it together? I canceled my WoW subscription. It's going away in like 3 weeks. I've told you how to fix this. You're not going to get everyone back, okay? You're not going to win everyone back over. But most people are understanding. And if you've told us the truth about China, which I don't think you did, but if you did, then I've provided you a blueprint to making this go away the quickest and most reasonable way possible. If you lied about China, then I expect you to step down immediately, Jalen Brack, because, well, the CEO shouldn't lie directly to their customers and their investors' faces. Seems like a pretty simple ask. Hope you enjoyed this video. Share the crap out of it. We'll talk to you again real soon.
And then
Morning, everybody.
He did.
Okay, let's start with Washington, please. I don't care about the other stuff in the event, okay? I don't care about them. Let's just stay very focused on impeachment.
My name is Kerry Porch. I'm a satellite uplink technician. I'm a contractor at the CNN Washington, D.C. Bureau.
But Jeff Zucker, basically president of CNN, has a personal vendetta against Trump. It's not going to be positive for Trump. He hates him. He's going to be negative.
I decided to wear a hidden camera.
Media created this monster. Did you know that? He created this monster, and I'm reading him full play every single day. Media created the Trump monster.
I decided to secretly record the 9 a.m. rundown call meetings, and it's basically run by Jeff Zucker, the president of CNN.
We're moving towards impeachment. I mean, don't, we shouldn't pretend, this is going one way, and so all these moves are moves towards impeachment.
When I came to work at CNN, I mean, it was my dream job, and that dream actually just turned into a nightmare.
So I just want to say on the Lindsey Graham front, I know that there's a lot of people at CNN that are friendly with Lindsey Graham. Time to knock that off, and it's time to call him out. And I think what's going on in America now is really fundamentally the result of years of fake news, conspiracy nonsense from Fox News.
He was calling Fox News fake news and a propaganda machine, and with what I saw, I'm like, that's pretty much what CNN was. Like, it's just pumping out propaganda.
The fake conspiracy nonsense that Fox has spread for years is now deeply embedded in American society, and frankly, that is destructive to America, and I do not think we should be scared to say so.
I just want them to own where they're at. Like, hey, if we lean left, cool, let's just say we lean left. If we lean right, let it be known. But again, it just dovetails back in that thing. I just want people to have the information to make up their own minds.
He's known Trump for a long time. Like, they worked together back during The Apprentice.
And hates his guts.
Impeachment is the story. I know we're going to feel a tendency to think we're doing too much, but it's the story.
They sold themselves to the devil. It's sad.
Let's start the anti-Trump crusade.
Man, what was it like the morning after this past election?
But that day, just at 6 a.m. in the morning when I came in, the mood was just so sourpuss the whole day. It was a dreary day. I bet at Fox it was euphoria.
CNN likes to call itself the most trusted name in news, but that's not the story we heard from a CNN insider who blew the whistle, recorded everything, and came to Project Veritas earlier this year. Would it be fair to say that you being here today it's not politically motivated?
That's correct. It's not politics that motivates me. It's basically me wanting the news to be what they used to be, news, and not a infotainment or a game show or chasing the ratings like CNN purports it to be facts first, and that's clearly not the case.
Kerry Porch has worked for CNN for 2 years. He says when he started, he had high hopes for the job, but he quickly became disillusioned as he was exposed to rampant anti-Trump bias at the network.
I noticed after, again, this is fairly rapidly after I started, within the first 3 to 6 months, that there was a strong groupthink that permeated through the halls, and that everyone was on board the, I hate Trump train, or I want to, basically go after anyone, on the center or on the right politically.
Porch secretly recorded several of CNN's 9 a.m. morning editorial calls where CNN's president, Jeff Zucker, leads the anti-Trump charge.
We're moving towards impeachment. I mean, don't, we shouldn't pretend, this is going one way, and so all these moves are moves towards impeachment. So don't lose sight of what the big story is.
They're done every day, Monday through Friday, and it's basically run by Jeff Zucker, the president of CNN from the New York Bureau, and he would basically, he runs it with an iron fist, and it's actually respectable. It's like listening to him run his business. It's kind of fascinating, but hearing that from the strongest and most prominent voice, the number one is on every day just hammering Trump in some way, shape, or form, or Republicans in general, about, all these other stories might be happening, but we want to divert all our resources to this aspect of Trump or that aspect of Trump, or most recently, it's just all about impeachment.
On the calls are the top leadership of the network: Zucker, CNN's president; Virginia Mosley, CNN's senior vice president of news gathering.
There's a second whistleblower, and that this now fortifies the complaint.
And David Chalian, vice president and CNN political director.
I think as big of a story as what President Trump has done here is the Republicans sort of either delusional or defiant or silent responses. I think it's as big a story in what is going on.
On the calls to executive producers and news staffers across the country, it is clear that Zucker wants his network to stay focused on impeachment and nothing else.
Guns will be the central topic in the 2020 Democratic nomination race today. The Giffords PAC has paired up with MSNBC. They've got a gun town hall in Las Vegas. 10 candidates will be showing up there throughout the day. I don't care about the MSNBC event, okay? I don't care about them. Let's just stay very focused on impeachment and everything that happens today. Because, look, you're going to be coming on at 3 o'clock. Trump is at 2. All the president's men are part of the cover-up.
The impeachment stuff, there's new developments every day. More shoes drop, and it's like there's just nothing we can do. If Zucker wants impeachment every single day to be the top story,
that's what he wants.
Yeah, he wants impeachment. So
above all else,
I totally understand that most, if not all, the people I work with will never want to speak to me again, or possibly have, negative motivations after the fact. Like, I get that. I get where they're coming from. But I always respect the people that I worked with. They were amazing at their job, and many of them felt the same way. They just felt trapped that they couldn't say it.
Nick Neville is a media coordinator in CNN's Washington bureau. He says not everyone at the network agrees with Zucker's anti-Trump agenda.
Yeah, because what's difficult is, you have some conflicting things at play here. There's a lot of people who are out here trying to, just do what they think is, the best of journalistic integrity. And then you get on the 9 a.m. call, and big boss Jeff Zucker tells you what to do. And it's you have to a certain extent, you have to follow his verdict.
Yeah, you got to go with the downhill, so you got to go with the boss there.
Yeah.
And he's not he's big.
He's had an ongoing feud with Trump. It's no surprise. He's had an ongoing feud with Trump since The Apprentice.
In 2004, Jeff Zucker was one of the executive producers at NBC Entertainment that greenlighted and produced The Apprentice, a show that turned Donald Trump from real estate tycoon to a mega star. Many say the show's and Trump's success helped Zucker rise to the top at NBC. And then, according to Neville and others, Zucker, as the president of CNN, helped Trump become the mega candidate.
He's known Trump for a long time. They worked together back during The Apprentice.
And hates his guts.
I hate everything, how everything is all Trump all the time now. Everyone at the network complains about it. They hate covering Trump every day.
I'm just surprised CNN hasn't been able to take down Trump yet.
I was just
How are we gonna do it?
I was like,
I mean, I feel like they're trying, but
yeah. What could they do more? Other than what they've been doing. Yeah.
But to a certain extent, CNN created Trump's celebrity. Created this whole, not his celebrity, but created his candidacy, made him legitimate because they felt like they needed to show everything that he did from the beginning. So, Jeff Zucker can't really complain. He kind of put this in action.
And why would they do that, though, truly? I don't get it.
Ratings. Yeah. And that's sometimes what I struggle with. A lot of the decisions, I guess all media companies make, but it's they're out to make a profit. So when people criticize, the media, to a certain extent, some of the criticism is accurate because it can't totally be completely for the objectives that you're seeking. I totally want to do just the truth, the dogged reporting. But then you have higher up executives like Zucker and other people who are saying, well, we got to make profits. So you end up with things I don't know if you heard this, but this week they had a game show to like decide what dates there was going to be this debate. So it's like they pulled names out of a hat. It's like we're watching the Game Show Network. So it turns into like certain things that you do are trying to just attract viewers, and it becomes kind of a comedy show. So it's like, you know, you have people who are genuinely have all the right motives, but then you also have people who are like, well, we got to make money and we got to attract viewers. So if we just talk about Trump all day, people will watch.
Yeah. I think we're just trying every single way to show that we're in the right side.
Yeah, because we want to be.
We're the light side.
Light and dark side.
We're against the dark side. I think whatever tools I have at our disposal, I think that's what CNN is doing.
Yeah.
Media created this monster.
Yeah,
Media
back in
Trump,
2015, right?
And we're eating him every single day. Between you and I, he created this monster, and we're eating him full plate every single day. Media created the Trump monster.
He knew how to play it. He knew how to play it.
He's a sneaky business person. Not good, not savvy, just sneaky bullying.
Mike Brevna, a CNN floor manager, worked the overnight shift of the 2016 election at the D.C. Bureau.
Man, what was it like the morning after this past election here in the Bureau?
Well, I came in that night.
The night of the day after you came in that night.
Yeah, the election. Yeah, I came in like 10, 11 o'clock that night.
Okay.
And, you know, right around the time they called me.
Oh, so you came in actually election day. The night of that, as it was going into.
Because I worked the overnight.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Man, how was that?
But when I walked through the elevators and came through the doors, first thing I always do, I was on their side. I look to the left and look to the right. I look back to the left. There was someone sitting on the floor. And then I seen like movement of people, somebody coming out of A, somebody. And as I started walking towards this person, as I got closer, I could hear her sobbing. And I never really wanted to look at who it was. And to this day, I don't even really know who it was. Because they were there like this, and they were sobbing. And so then I went into Acadron. It was like he was at a funeral.
I'm sorry?
It was like he was at a funeral.
Oh, at a funeral? Yeah.
People were like in shock. I don't say they were in mourning. Let's say people were in shock.
Do you think the people at CNN thought that Trump was going to win the election?
Nobody thought Trump was going to win, myself included.
But that day, like, man, just at 6 a.m. in the morning when I came in, everyone was silent. Nobody wanted to talk. I just came in. I was like, oh, hi. And like the mood was just so sourpuss the whole day.
I imagine.
Yeah.
I imagine that was a dreary day inside of CNN.
It was a dreary day. I bet at Fox it was like euphoria.
Oh yeah, popping champagne. Yeah.
The racism, we're coming back.
Yeah. Assuming at that point too, it was like, all right, well, let's put our heads together and see how to fix this somehow, or let's start the
anti-Trump crusade.
Yeah, let's start the anti-Trump crusade.
This is why Kerry Porch became a Project Veritas insider. He saw CNN's anti-Trump crusade was about more than ratings. It was about taking sides.
I think what's going on in America now is really fundamentally the result of years of fake news, conspiracy, nonsense from Fox News that has taken root in this country, and I'm dead serious about this. The fake conspiracy nonsense that Fox has spread for years is now deeply embedded in American society and at the highest levels of the Republican elected officials, as we've seen with Ron Johnson, and frankly, that is destructive to America, and I do not think we should be scared to say so.
Zucker sounds more like an angry tyrant than a network news president.
So I just want to say on the Lindsey Graham front, I know that there's a lot of people at CNN that are friendly with Lindsey Graham. It's time to knock that off, and it's time to call him out. And full-time contract now at Fox News. He's done the last 26 interviews in cable news at Fox, okay? And so it's time to seriously call out what's going on here.
According to Porch and others, the anti-Trump crusade at CNN is personal.
Which guys hate Trump? Cooper's got to.
Cooper hates him.
I mean, Cooper's
Don Lemon hates him.
I mean, Don Lemon, he's
Tapper, yeah, he doesn't like him either.
Dick Tapper.
Cuomo doesn't like him.
Hannity is extremely conservative. He lets you know. However, Don Lemon comes on. He makes you think he's objective news. I'm not trying to bash CNN,
dude. It's whatever, man.
But he makes you think he's objective news, but he's blatantly opinionated. All right. So either disclose where you're coming from, or get someone who's a little bit more objective. John Lemon is, love him or hate him, he's blatantly anti-Trump, he's blatantly left. So maybe Don Lemon could disclose that, but CNN makes it appear as though we have 24 hours of unbiased news. That's not true.
Christian Sierra explained how CNN implements their political bias.
It's the ones who stick strictly to news, and I can understand if you're tough, maybe you're a little tough on the Democrats, it's okay, fine, whatever. MSNBC is tough on Republicans, and we're tough on Republicans too. More so than the Democrats. Our Democrat interviews are like softballs compared to Republicans. But I can understand.
You guys do a lot of Republican interviews, actually, though.
We do,
right? So which is good.
We do, but if you notice, every time we ask questions to Republicans, it's always a little tougher than when we do to the Democrats.
But why not just quit? Why take the risk of exposing the largest, arguably one of the most influential news outlets? It's in airports, and especially with this news, I know that this is something that you've struggled with. You're about to have a family, and why not just quit? Why do this?
It's a fair question. And as we said earlier, I was about to quit, and I wrestled with the decision long and hard. You and I spoke for weeks before we kind of decided to do this, and it still scares me. Again, you said it in the question. This is exposing most likely the biggest media conglomerate in the world. I lose sleep over it. But I decided to wear the camera because I didn't see any other option, because I noticed that I was in a very unique position in space and time to just do something to protect the Republic, to basically put everything in the sunshine that I could, let the cards fall where they may, and hopefully, again, just dovetail into letting us at least have one more fair and free election.
A recent Gallup poll said only about 14% of the American people have a great deal of confidence in the U.S. media. As our insider exposed, that lack of confidence, at least in CNN, is justified.
I just hope that others in similar positions will take the mantle as we all have. The Facebook insider inspired me. My goal with this, aside from getting CNN to return to what its old greatness, is to inspire literally the dozens of people I've had this same conversation with, not only at CNN, but at different outlets.
People are always asking me, what can I do? It's probably the most frequent question that I get asked. It's maybe one of the most important questions. Well, there's a new answer to that question. You can be an insider. You can wear a camera. You can blow the whistle, like Kerry Borch did. He's one of the bravest people I've ever met. You can do that too, but you have to reach out to us at veritastips@protonmail.com. Be brave. This is James O'Keefe with Project Veritas.
I want to acknowledge that I know these tweets from Project Veritas.
Who is CNN unfair against right now on the debate?
Got married, her husband's out there somewhere, hopefully smiling.
I think probably
our daughter was born. I had this
probably Gang or Klobuchar,
perfect birth.
One of the lesser ones.
She was really sick, and she couldn't swallow.
Just because they're going to talk about Biden and Warren.
Hospitals for a year and a half. But when
They're not going to mention the others.
CNN's obviously pro.
They want to cover the people who are at the top. They don't want to cover the bottom.
CNN like.
CNN, I think they like Warren a lot. Like,
They seem to top her up a little bit.
Well, right now because she's in second place. When you're Bernie is third, Pete, Kamala and Pete are like tying, or like back and forth for fourth and fifth.
You can be a Republican, Democrat, whatever. That's fine, but it's very obvious. It's an unwritten rule that if you are center right, or heaven forbid, full right Republican Trump supporter, then you are not welcome at CNN.
I also think we should be doing a segment somewhere on what Kamala Harris raised last night at AC 360, and that others are talking about. It's not going to happen, but I think it's a good segment in a show. Should Trump's Twitter account be suspended? It's obviously what Kamala Harris raised. Others are talking about it. It's not going to happen, but it's a good talk. It's a good segment.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually came to CNN a registered Democrat. I campaigned and voted for Bernie in the primaries of the 2016 election, but I still consider myself a Democrat when I came to work here. And from what I saw, it totally rocked my world. I spent many sleepless nights just wrestling with the fact that all that I thought I knew and hoped to be at CNN was false.
Why don't we show a Biden rally or Warren rally in Fulton? We don't. So,
Why?
but we show all Trump
Why?
stuff, even when he talks about the economy.
They probably think it's boring. I mean, Biden rallies are like.
Yeah, Biden rallies. Good point.
People would change the channel.
Well,
Biden's rallies are actually daycare, so
It's Newsville.
Biden's rallies, he's like, it's great to be in New Hampshire. Joe, you're in like North Dakota. You're like not New Hampshire.
He donated before to Kamala Harris when she was running for Senate in California. I can tell if he also likes Biden or not. I think the one they don't like is Tulsi. Yeah, they don't like Tulsi Gabbard.
David, are we taking Andrew Yang seriously enough?
But the Yang people have like a conspiracy, like CNN hates Yang. They don't want his.
I think that's what I was kind of reading. What is CNN like?
I think they like Warren a lot. Bernie is third. Pete, Kamala and Pete are like tying, or like back and forth for fourth.
Our CNN insider gave us access to some of CNN's most senior people. What we heard them say in private sounds very different from what they put on the air. Senior Justice correspondent Evan Perez has a take on the Biden corruption story that you've never heard him say publicly.
Now, I'll tell you this, Joe Biden has a problem. Okay. Because his son was trading on his name. It looks bad. It smells bad. It's not illegal. Nothing is illegal about it. It's crazy. What? I mean, you're benefiting from your father's name. Okay. You're trading on his name. Everybody does that. But that's the problem. Because how do you then say Donald Trump is a person, get him out of here, and we're different when your son is doing the same shit?
Tonight, CNN is hosting the latest debate for the Democratic contenders for the 2020 presidential campaigns. Based on our own CNN insider and undercover reporting, the network has already picked its winners and losers.
A straight white.
So who does he want to be president?
Take on some of these issues of racial justice because he's kind of passionate. He does.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't know. I think he wants a Democrat. I don't think he has any particular favorite. Well, because here's the thing. He donated before to Kamala Harris when she was running for Senate in California.
Look for moments in a debate like this
but I think he kind of likes Pete. But I can tell if he also likes Biden or Warren.
You think he likes Biden?
I think so.
Our most recent investigation began when Kerry Porch, a CNN satellite uplink technician, came forward and told us what was going on inside CNN. He saw political bias on every level, and this was coming from a man whose political leanings might surprise you.
You can be a Republican, Democrat, whatever. That's fine, but it's very obvious. It's an unwritten rule that if you are center right, or heaven forbid, full right Republican Trump supporter, then you are not welcome at CNN.
One of the things Porch was able to do was to record CNN's 9 a.m. morning editorial calls. CNN's president, Jeff Zucker, leads the call of CNN movers and shakers.
David, are we taking Andrew Yang seriously enough? I mean, He's like number 6 in the polls, and he's just raised $10 million, so I take him as seriously as that he clearly sparked interest. Do I think he's a likely nominee? No, I don't. Should we be taking him more seriously?
Yes, David Chalian thinks the network should look at Yang, even though it's clear he doesn't think he has a chance to be the nominee.
Yeah, I don't know why we would take, both these candidates seriously. We should definitely be looking at why Andrew Yang is president.
Zucker was like, when Yang raised like $10 million, he said, like, are we even taking this guy seriously?
Yeah, I don't think he likes Yang.
Yeah, but then remember, Chalian pushed back, like, well, we got to take everyone seriously. Even Trump raised $125 million. Yeah. But it seemed to surprise Zuck. I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
I think the one they don't like is Tulsi.
No.
They don't like Tulsi Gabbard.
No, why do you think? Just
because she supports Assad, and she's not taking the conventional route, like when it comes to like foreign policy and stuff like that. So she's actually pretty liberal, but when it comes to that one position, like I think there are a lot of people are not cool with her. What do you think of Andrew Yang?
Yang's cool. Yeah, I like Yang.
But
actually, I was just reading just before I came here. Actually, he's pissed at CNN.
Because his face wasn't put up in a graphic.
They cut off his mic. I think it was right
on the first debate.
Is that what? Okay.
NBC. Yeah.
I saw something pop up, and I was just reading it a little bit. I didn't
He's pissed at us because we didn't put his name on a graphic.
Why?
Because we were showing a poll, and I think Yang was ahead of Beto O'Rourke, but yet we put Beto O'Rourke, and we didn't put Yang.
Why do you just?
Well, because
happens or.
It probably happens, like that's the conventional reason, but the Yang people have like a conspiracy, like CNN hates Yang, they don't want his 1,000.
I think that's what I was kind of reading.
I also think we should be doing a segment somewhere on what Kamala Harris raised last night at AC 360, and that others are talking about. It's not going to happen, but I think it's a good segment in a show. Should Trump's Twitter account be suspended? Obviously, what Kamala Harris raised, others are talking about it. It's not going to happen. But it's a good talk. It's a good segment.
For Jeff Zucker, the Democratic race seems to be about good segments rather than fair and balanced coverage of the campaign.
You mentioned the Kamala Harris moment that I was going to note here about following on Trump being suspended from Twitter. She is also retooling her struggling campaign. The Harris team here confirming a lot of the reporting that you first saw Politico last night, but she is bringing over her Senate Chief of Staff or senior advisor from the Senate office into very senior positions in her presidential campaign.
CNN employees told our insider and our undercover journalists that CNN decisions are based not on news judgment, but what will get ratings.
Why don't we show a Biden rally or Warren rally in full?
We don't.
We don't. So, but we saw all the Trump stuff, even when he talks about the economy.
They probably think it's boring. I mean, Biden rallies are like.
Yeah, Biden rallies. Good point.
People would change the channel.
Well, Biden's rallies are actually daycares, so
it's Newsville.
Biden's rallies, he's like, it's great to be in New Hampshire. Joe, you're in like North Dakota. You're like not New Hampshire.
It wasn't just the 9 a.m. meetings. It was the conversations in the break room, on site with producers, with the talent here and there, just in casual passing. I just want not only myself, but my child that comes in, my future wife, everyone. I just want us to have a free and fair election. That's what it's all about. Like, we get information presented to us. We can pull the lever for whoever we want. Again, left, right, center, whatever. That's the American dream. That's what it should be. I don't need to have some ideology shoved down my throat that's twisted in a way.
What do you think CNN needs to do to reform this behavior?
Just get back to the facts and get back to reporting the news. To go back to what they were good at. Go back to what they did, reporting the news, boots on ground. Here's what's going on. There it is. With no, professional opinion spencers on staff that masquerade opinion as fact. Just go back to reporting.
So if it's Anderson.
So, or Anderson, some of the anchors can write their own questions.
Because he interviews a lot of, actually.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one guy who kind of stands out.
He hates Trump. He every day he's always, mocking him in some way. So.
But if he's interviewing, Lindsey Graham or somebody, it's not well, I guess I don't know.
He's tough with a lot of the hosts are tough with the Republicans.
Tonight's debate is being hosted by CNN and the New York Times. Perhaps in the interest of freedom and democracy, the journalists can drop their agenda and biases and just do their jobs. People are always asking me, what can I do? It's probably the most frequent question that I get asked. It's maybe one of the most important questions. Well, there's a new answer to that question. You can be an insider. You can wear a camera. You can blow the whistle, like Kerry Borch did. He's one of the bravest people I've ever met. You can do that too, but you have to reach out to us at veritastips@protonmail.com. Be brave. This is James O'Keefe with Project Veritas.
N3 Radio is a non-profit teaching platform for non-professionals. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or professional use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Pepsi bottle? A Coca-Cola glass? I don't give a damn.
Providing you with a variety of music with limited interruptions, it's N3 Radio.